ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి, జేఈఈ అయినా, నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So next factor, rearrangements. In SN1 reaction. Rearrangements in SN1 reaction. SN1 reaction takes place through the formation of carbocation. So first point is carbocation is formed. A carbocation, if there is possibility, if the structure permits, then it may undergo rearrangement from less stable carbocation to more stable carbocation, which gives different products, right. So rearrangement of carbocation may takes place in SN1 reaction if the structure permits, so that a carbocation can rearrange itself from less stable to more stable carbocation. So the rearrangement always takes place. So let us see some examples. Suppose if I have a substrate like this, 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, butane. These two are substituents. So this is generally alkyl halide, 2 bromo 3 methyl butane, 2 bromo 3 methyl butane. Say we are heating it in ethyl alcohol solvent, let us say. Then what happens? Right. First point, it is a secondary alkyl halide. So we are writing SN1 product. How to identify? See, there is solvent and heating. So we boil, we reflux this alkyl halide in ethanol solution, right. We boil it. Why we have to supply more temperature? Because the step involves breaking of carbon and halogen. If it has to undergo SN1 reaction, you have to write the nucleophile and solvent. We are only writing the solvent. So it is a example for solvolysis. Solvolysis is nothing but SN1 reaction. So what is the first step in the SN1 reaction? Formation of carbocation. So I will write the formation of carbocation step first. So you are heating it. So what we get is a carbocation. Right. This is a secondary carbocation. Secondary carbocation. If the structure permits, then it may undergo rearrangement. See, this is primary carbon, secondary carbon, tertiary carbon, primary carbon. So here you will have a hydrogen. If nothing is written, the fourth bond will be that of hydrogen. So the hydrogen may be shifted from this carbon to this carbon. The hydrogen along with its lone pair, along with its bonded pair, is shifted to the secondary carbocation. Thereby what happens? You will get a more stable tertiary carbocation. So shift of this hydrogen, H minus, shift of H minus, 1, 2 shift of hydride ion H minus from this carbon to this carbon, resulting in the formation of a tertiary carbocation. So we will get a tertiary carbocation. Now, which is more stable? The answer is tertiary is more stable than secondary. So this will give the major product. So you cannot rule out the product of this also, but this is the major product. So what I will get here is C2H5OH, attack of alcohol on this. So I am writing directly. SN1 product. So here we can see that a less stable carbocation is rearranged to more stable carbocation. So you can study this type of examples. So suppose if you have a substrate like this, one bromo 3 methyl butane. So this is first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon. So the long chain contains 4 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 bromo, 2, 3, 3 methyl butane. So what happens if it is reacted under 2 different conditions? C2H5O minus Na plus sodium ethoxide aqueous. So here the product formed the product formed in both cases is different. The reason is, if you see the first one, we have, what is the reagent? Sodium ethoxide. So we have a nucleophile in aqueous. Aqueous means solvent. Water is solvent. You have a nucleophile and solvent. Here you have only solvent. So this is solvolysis process, whereas this is not solvolysis process. Now here it follows SN2 path. The first one follows SN2 path, whereas the second one follows SN1 path. That is the difference. So in SN2 path, primary alkyl halide is more reactive. So Br is replaced with corresponding nucleophile, right? Yes. Now in the case of SN1, you will get first a carbocation, primary carbocation in SN1. So first you will get a carbocation, which rearranges to secondary carbocation, migration of hydrogen, which rearranges further to a tertiary carbocation. So primary carbocation, secondary carbocation, and tertiary carbocation. Next factor, stability of carbocation by conjugation. If carbocation is more stable, then it readily undergoes SN1 reaction. This is what we have studied. So here we are going to study how a carbocation can be stabilized by conjugation, right? So the first one is, I am taking alpha haloether. So this is the basic structure RO. Ether is nothing but ROR. Alpha position you have ether, sorry, halogen. So this is functional group. The next carbon is alpha carbon. To this alpha carbon you have halogen. So alpha halogen, that means halogen attached to alpha carbon, and this is ether group ROR. This is ether. The best example is C2H5O, C2H5O. COC bond, ether ROR, right? So this is functional group, alpha carbon, halogen attached to alpha carbon, therefore this is alpha halo ether. Alpha halo ethers reacts at very fast or readily in SN1 reaction. The reason is its carbocation is stabilized by conjugation. So first point, they reacts rapidly in SN1 reaction, very rapidly in SN1 reaction, because the carbocation formed is stable. Let us see how it is stabilized. So if I write like this, ROCH2X, halogen has 3 lone pairs, oxygen has 2 lone pairs. Right. So this is alpha halo ether, ROCH2X. The first step of SN1 reaction is cleavage of carbon halogen bond. So I have removed this halogen as X minus. So carbon is losing its electron share, therefore carbon carries positive charge. So this is the carbocation. Next, the carbocation form is stabilized by conjugation. Here you have positive charge, single bond, here you have lone pairs. The lone pairs present on oxygen, they involve in conjugation. Oxygen donates its lone pair, resulting in the formation of pi bond between oxygen and carbon. Carbon is gaining electron share, so it loses its positive charge. Since oxygen is donating the lone pair, it is losing some of its electron share to carbon, therefore it gains positive charge. So you will get this resonating structure. So in this resonating structure, they are highly stable resonance form due to more number of covalent bonds. If number of covalent bonds increases, stability increases. This is one of the characteristic of resonating structures. Due to more number of covalent bonds, that is one point, and all atoms have octet configuration. Due to these two reasons, this carbocation is highly stable. That is why it is very rapidly, it reacts in SN1, alpha halo ethers. So if I take allyl halide, what happens? So it loses halogen. Right, first step, resulting in the formation of carbocation. But this carbocation is in conjugation. Positive charge, single bond, double bond. That is a conjugation. It is in conjugation. The positive charge in conjugation. So what happens here? These pi electrons shift. They involve in resonance, resulting in the formation of a stabilized carbocation, identical. So the positive charge is not localized on one carbon, but it is delocalized on these 3 atoms. Because of delocalization, the stability of carbocation increases. Similarly, I can write for benzyl. What is it? This is nothing but allyl halide. So if I remove halogen, the first step, removal of halogen. what I will get here is a benzyl carbocation which is stabilized by resonance. So, in allyl halides and benzyl halides, the carbocation formed, this is allyl carbocation, this is benzyl carbocation, they are stabilized by conjugation, hence they readily undergo SN1 reaction, they readily undergo solvolysis. But when compared to these two, this carbocation is more stable, alpha halo ether carbocation is more stable. Therefore, alpha halo ethers reacts at much rapid way, much fastly compared to allyl halides and benzyl halides because of its high stability. So, alpha halo ethers are more reactive compared to allyl halides and benzyl halides towards solvolysis or SN1 reaction. So, remember this point, more number of covalent bonds. What is the reason for high stability? More number of covalent bonds and all atoms have octet configuration. These are the two reasons that by which you can explain the extra stability of the carbocation formed from alpha halo ether. So, aromaticity we have studied in first year. A compound is said to be aromatic if it is cyclic, if it obeys Huckel's rule, that is if it contains 4n plus 2 pi electrons, right, and it should be planar, cyclic, planar and should obey Huckel's rule. If it satisfies this condition, then it is said to be aromatic in nature. Aromatic compounds are highly stable. Now, the question is, if a carbocation can be stabilized by aromaticity, then that carbocation is highly stable. The carbocation is highly stable and the corresponding halide readily undergoes solvolysis. Once again, if carbocation can be stabilized by aromaticity, then the carbocation is highly stable and the corresponding halide readily undergoes solvolysis. That is the point. Let us see some example. I am taking some alkyl halide. This is one alkyl halide. Say the first step is loss of halide ion, that is nothing but minus Cl minus, I am doing Cl minus. So, what I will get is a carbocation. So, let us write the resonating structures. So, you can write delocalization of charge, positive charge on 3 atoms. So, here you will get positive charge because this carbon is losing pi electrons. Again, if you want, you can write one more. So the positive charge is delocalized on all the atoms. So it is resonantly stabilized. Now, is it aromatic? First thing, it is cyclic. All the carbon atoms are planar. These two are sp2 hybridized, they are planar. Carbocation, carbon carrying positive charge, has 3 bonds, right? So this carbon, 1 bond, 2 bond, the third bond is hydrogen. So it is also sp2 hybridized. All the carbon atoms are sp2 hybridized, they are present in one plane. So it is planar, cyclic and planar. So it is planar because all carbon atoms are sp2 hybridized. Does it contain 4n plus 2 pi electrons? Let us see. How many pi electrons you have? 2 pi electrons. So let us check whether it obeys or not. 4n plus 2 pi electrons. If n equal to 0, then you will get 2 pi electrons. That means it obeys 4n plus 2 pi electrons. Cyclic, planar, obeys Huckel's rule. Therefore, it is aromatic. It is an aromatic compound. It possesses aromaticity. That means the carbocation is stabilized by aromaticity. Hence, the carbocation is highly stable. Then this compound readily undergo solvolysis. Readily undergo solvolysis. Let us take one more compound. Tropylium chloride. 7 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and halogen. It is found that it readily undergoes solvolysis. Readily undergo solvolysis even in cold water. You don't have to heat it. It readily undergo solvolysis even in cold water. What is the reason? So, solvolysis is nothing but SN1 reaction. Let us see why it readily undergoes solvolysis. So, I am taking the tropylium chloride. Remove the halogen. If it undergoes solvolysis, what we get? First step is removal of halogen. You will get a carbocation. Carbocation. It is resonantly stabilized. You can write the resonating structures, but it is an aromatic compound. Let us check. First, it is cyclic. No doubt, it is cyclic. Is it planar? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 carbons possess double bond, so they are sp2 hybridized, they are planar. What about the 7th one? It is a carbocation. A carbocation undergoes sp2 hybridization because it forms only 3 bonds. One with this carbon, another with this carbon, there is one more, that is hydrogen. The 4th one is removed as H plus. If you have 4th one, it will be sp3 hybridized, which will have a tetrahedral geometry, but here this carbon has only 3 bonds, therefore it is sp2 hybridized and trigonal planar. So, all carbons, they are present in single plane. So, they are planar because all carbons are undergoing sp2 hybridization. How many pi electrons? How many pi bonds? 1, 2, 3. 3 pi bonds. 3 into 2, 6 pi electrons. It contains 6 pi electrons. Therefore, let us substitute in the formula 4n plus 2 pi electrons. Right. When you will get 6, if n equal to 1. If n equal to 1, substitute here 4 into 1, 4, 4 plus 2, 6. So, it obeys Huckel's rule. Therefore, this is aromatic in nature. So, why it readily undergoes solvolysis? Because the obtained tropylium cation, is aromatic in nature. It is stabilized by aromaticity. Hence, it readily undergoes solvolysis even in cold water. Next, Vinyl halides and phenyl halides fails in SN1 reaction. They are poor substrates. Even in SN1, they are poor substrate. In SN2, here also they are poor substrates. Their reactivity is very, very less. Let us see the reason, the same reason. So, what is vinyl halide? Halogen attached to C double bond C system, vinyl group. So, why it is very poor substrate? The reason is the lone pairs present on the halogen, they involve in resonance. Thereby what happens? The carbon halogen, even if I write phenyl halides, the story is same. So, the electrons, already we have studied this point, so I am writing directly the lone pair on the halogen, they form pi bond between carbon and halogen. These pi electrons are shifted to the adjacent carbon. Already we have studied this point. Now, you can clearly see that carbon halogen has CX bond has double bond character. Double bond character. Therefore, it requires extra energy to break the bond, right? And it becomes difficult to break it in the first step, since it requires more energy. Even if you supply that much amount of energy during bond formation, that should be compensated, which does not happen. Hence, vinyl and phenyl halides, they are poor substrate in SN1 reaction, because carbon halogen bond has double bond character and becomes difficult to break. It just increases the activation energy. So, that is why they are poor substrates, poor SN1 substrates, reactants, vinyl and phenyl halides. Right, next, role of solvent in SN1 reaction. First, so let us go back to the basic. What happens in SN1 reaction? So, the first point is formation of carbocation. That means, in SN1 reaction, the carbon halogen bond is cleaved. The carbon halogen bond is cleaved. Because of cleavage of carbon halogen bond, you got a cation where carbon carries positive charge, anion halogen carries negative charge. Between two opposite charges, there exist electrostatic forces of attraction. So, immediately after breaking the bond, they are not separated. If they are not separated, the rate of reaction will be less, because there is always the possibility of recombination due to strong electrostatic force of attraction between positive charge carbocation and negative charge halide ion. So, here comes the role of solvent. This is simply an ionization reaction, right? The reaction rate increases if you separate these two ions. That means charge separation has to take place. You require a solvent which encourages the ionization, which separates the carbocation and anion, right? The carbocation and halide ion. You have to decrease electrostatic force of attraction between them. How can you separate? You cannot take carbocation with your left hand and anion with right hand, because they are invisible. The solvent has to do it. So the solvent which has greater ionizing power, which encourages the ionization, they are known as ionizing solvent. Its ability to cause ionization, encourages ionization, is expressed in terms of dielectric constant. So it is the ability of the medium, right, to separate the oppositely charged ions and increase the ionization. That is nothing but dielectric constant. It is a tendency of the solvent to increase the ionization by separating the oppositely charged ions. How it separates? The solvent comes in between these two. The solvent comes in between the carbocation and halide ion, thereby decreases the electrostatic force of attraction and thereby decreases the probability of recombination and reversal of reaction, thereby increases the rate of forward reaction or simply increases the rate of SN1 reaction. So solvents which have high dielectric constant, they have high ionizing power, they separate the carbocation and halide ion, they increase the ionization and thereby the rate of SN1 reaction. So examples for solvent having high dielectric constant are water, formic acid, acetonitrile, etc. So these solvents, they encourage the ionization of the first step, or they cause charge separation. So this is the first factor. The second factor is solvation. So after separation, the ions must be solvated. If it is a polar protic solvent, then they surround this polar protic solvent and stabilize the ion. The solvent molecules, they surround the ions up, right? Remember, this is which solvent? A polar protic solvent like water. Now we know that water is dipolar. It carries both positive end as well as negative end. So if it is positively charged, then the negative end of water will surround it or come near to the carbocation. They surround, more and more water molecule will surround, that depends upon the magnitude of the positive charge. Here it is negatively charged, therefore the positive end of the water will surround them. This is nothing but hydrolysis or solvolysis. So because of this, what happens? The ion is stabilized. So the possibility of recombination further decreases, right? Why? Because if they have to come together like CX to form CX, first you have to remove all these water molecules around it, which requires a lot of energy. So solvation leads to the stability of formed ions, thereby decreases the reversal of the reaction and hence the rate of reaction increases. So the solvent, the one which has high dielectric constant is favorable, the one which has greater solvation effect like polar protic solvent, they can increase the rate of SN1 reaction. Stereochemistry of SN1 reaction. If the carbon, the alkyl halide carbon or alpha carbon is chiral in nature, then it will result in the formation of racemic mixture. The correct word is partial racemization with a positive, with a net inversion product. So it is a little confusing because if you are not familiar with the words racemization, retention of configuration, inversion of configuration, then you have to first learn them, which we have taught in first year organic chemistry under the heading optical isomerism. So here, to understand the stereochemistry, first you have to learn the meaning of chiral carbon, retention of configuration, RS nomenclature R and S nomenclature, retention of configuration, S inversion, sorry, R and S absolute configuration, retention of configuration and inversion of configuration. So let us study in detail. First point, the carbon should be chiral. What is the meaning of a chiral carbon? A carbon which has 4 different groups. So first I am taking a carbon which has 4 different groups. Now this is a chiral carbon, this is one alkyl group ethyl, methyl, isopropyl, more alkylated carbocation, right, one halogen, this is one group ethyl, these two are not ethyl, so this is one different group, methyl is another different group, this is isopropyl, so this is a chiral carbon. So the first step involves breaking of carbon halogen bond. So as usual, let us write, removing Br minus, isopropyl group and this is methyl group. Here the attacking nucleophile right. Here this carbon undergoes sp3 hybridization. After the removal of halide ion, that is nothing but Br minus, you will get this carbon where carbon has 3 bonds. How many bonds? 3 bonds. Therefore, carbon undergoes which hybridization? sp2 hybridization. So what is the geometry? Trigonal planar. Trigonal planar. Right. So trigonal planar. So what is the meaning of this trigonal planar? Imagine this carbon with 3 bonds present in the same plane, carbon, ethyl group like this. Here you have methyl and isopropyl group. So this is p orbital, this is p orbital. So, I am taking a paper, here I am considering the carbon, ethyl group, methyl group, isopropyl. I am holding like this, carbon, methyl, ethyl, isopropyl. So, here I am considering ethyl, here I am considering methyl, here I am considering isopropyl. Here you have p orbital, unhybridized p orbital. Here you have p orbital loops, p orbital loops. I am holding like this. So, here you have ethyl group, here you have methyl group, here you have isopropyl, here you have p orbital and p orbital. The nucleophile can attack from top side or from bottom side, because all the groups are present in the same plane. So, there is no steric hindrance, unlike SN2. If I hold like this, it can attack from front side or it can attack from back side, or if I hold like this, from top side, from bottom side. So, there are two possibilities. The nucleophile can approach from both sides, because the molecule is planar. The attack from top side will give a product, right. Let us take nucleophile as OH minus, let us assume. So, what we get here is so, you will get this product, you will get a product with retention of configuration. What is the meaning of retention of configuration? Suppose again it is sp3 hybridized, remember, because it has 4 bonds. Suppose the alkyl halide, the substrate is sp3 hybridized. If top side attack takes place, the product configuration will be same as that of reactant. If it has R configuration, here also it possesses R configuration, right. Since its configuration is retained, we call it as retention of configuration. If the nucleophile attacks from the bottom side, then you will get inversion of configuration, you will get a product with inversion of configuration. What is the meaning of inversion of configuration? Suppose if the reactant configuration is R, then its configuration must be S. If the reactant configuration is S, then its configuration must be R. So, you will get both products, one with retention and one with inversion. Since you are getting both products, if they are present in 50s to 50%, then we call it as racemic mixture. So, racemization takes place. You will get 50% of R product, 50% of S product. But here partial racemization takes place. Why? Because this product is formed slightly in greater amount, greater than 50%, whereas it is present in slightly less than 50%. So, actually you will get a partial racemization. With net inversion of configuration. So, if these two are present in equal amounts, the solution, the mixture becomes optically inactive, because one rotates plane polarizer to right, other rotates plane polarizer to left. Since they are present in equal quantities, the net each other will be cancelled out. So, the solution becomes, the mixture becomes optically inactive. But here the inversion of configuration, the inverted product is slightly excess than the product with retention of configuration. Therefore, the net product will be inversion of configuration. So, why there is more inversion of configuration than retention? Let us study this. Have you understood the meaning of partial racemization? It is complete racemization mixture means they must be present in equal amounts, so that the net mixture is optically inactive, because one rotates plane polarized to right, other rotates plane polarized to left. Since they are present in equal amounts, they will be cancelled out. But here you will get partial racemization. It is not optically inactive, because there is a net inversion of configuration, there is more amount of inverted product. Let us see why. So, what we are going to study now is why there is more inversion of configuration, why there is a product with more net inversion. Right, now see here, if I take a carbocation, when you break the bond, this is how it will take place. First it will be lengthened, so it carries positive charge, it carries negative charge. So, they are not completely separated. They are not completely separated. They are close to each other because of electrostatic force of attraction. This is called intimate ion pair because of electrostatic attraction. So, this is one possibility. In the next step, what happens? The solvent comes in between them. Here you will get solvent, right, or let us write. Yes, solvent, yes, and in the next step they are completely separated. So, here this carbon is planar. So, this is second intermediate, this is third intermediate. If nucleophile attacks on the first intermediate, that is intimate ion pair where they are not completely separated, the attack of nucleophile from front side, that is top side, is hindered. Why? Because there is still halide ion. But the nucleophile can attack from back side easily because there is no halide ion on the back side. It is similar to SN type of reaction. So, in the case of first intermediate, this intimate ion pair, if the nucleophile attacks, it has to prefer the backside attack. If it attacks from backside, you will get inversion of a product with inversion of configuration. If the nucleophile attacks the second pair, although there is some distance, but still the front side is hindered by solvent as well as halide ion. They are not completely separated, but there is still some hindrance to the attacking nucleophile. So, even in the second case, it attacks from backside, thereby resulting in the formation of a product with inversion of configuration. But when you come to the third intermediate, here it is a planar carbon like this. Here it can attack from top side as well as bottom side. So, we will get a racemic mixture here, but not here and here. Because of these two intermediates, because of these two transition states, you will get slightly excess of a product with inversion configuration. So, the net product has inversion configuration. So, the correct word is partial racemization with a net inversion of configuration because of transition state 1 and 2.